The original Nosferatu was Dracula fan fiction that got sued by Bram Stoker's estate. All copies of the film Nosferatu were ordered to be destroyed, but thanks to a few rebellious filmmakers and a few hidden copies, Nosferatu is still popular 102 years later. If you don't watch silent films from the 1920s, you're really missing out. The acting style is unique to the silent era. Theatrical, yes, but even in theater, this is overacting. So the male lead, Hutter, picks flowers for his wife, Ellen, and she says, "Why did you kill the flowers?" Which just sets up this whole theme of death in the movie. And in Dracula, the male lead was actually engaged to the female lead. So they were married in Nosferatu, and the later text reveals that a maiden can lure the monster to his death at dawn. Just because she's married doesn't mean she's not a maiden anymore. Apparently, virginity seemed to matter less to German expressionists. F.W. Murnau directed this film so well, it's impossible not to get caught up in the stirring visuals. Shadows and light is his only palette. No sound, no color. The carriages going over the rough road to Count Orlok's castle seemed to go on forever and made me feel very unsteady. Max Schreck, who plays Count Orlok, only appears on screen for 9 minutes of an hour and 20-minute movie. But every appearance is so scary. I'm like, run, bitch, run! The pointy ears, the crazy eyebrows of his like soul-sucking eyes, and the fangs like really thin and close together and in the front, and long fingers with the 4-inch nails. He seemed just unnaturally long and looming, and camera tricks made him seem magical, and they like invented it for this film. Basically, when the film is sped up and he's stacking coffins in stop motion, when the ship's storage opens and he crawls out, and the shot where Hutter looks into the coffin and sees Nosferatu, just his face, I screamed. I knew he was in there, but it was still really scary. There's also a transparent shot of him while the sailor hallucinates. Like, these are like the first instances of these things happening in movies. And like, imagine never seeing something like this before. And there's no, like, these are all like camera tricks. It's not CGI or anything like that. They just film things. And it was all with one camera too. Can you believe that shit? And then finally when he does his like sunlight disappearance into like a puff of smoke, that hadn't happened. I'm pretty sure that doesn't happen in Dracula. Like, Nosferatu invented that vampire trope that vampires get killed by sunlight. And I'm gonna go see the remake that on Christmas. I scraped together my ukulele money for a ticket, so I actually have something to do on Christmas this year, and I'm looking forward to it. But there needs to be a few things in order. Knock, the real estate agent. By the way, Knock is the comic relief in this movie. Nosferatu and Dracula are both about the worst real estate deal of all time. And I love when the professor is showing his students carnivorous plants, and there's like close-ups of a Venus flytrap and a transparent polyp, relating this to phantoms. Like, I wish this guy was my science teacher. This must have been fascinating to a 1922 audience who never saw a Venus flytrap or a hyena. Like, they were like, oh my God, the werewolf's out. It was a freaking hyena. But nobody had seen a hyena in 1922, so they must have thought it was like some creature from, the Dark Abyss or whatever. It's like a freaking hyena from Africa that they captured and put in a movie. Like one of the most iconic shots of the movie is when the shadow of Nosferatu's hand grows monstrously long and clutches Ellen's heart, and like the actress like seizes, like really feeling the attack. And this is all done with light and shadows. It's eerie, horrifying, yet somehow artistically beautiful. Film was such a recent invention, and F.W. Murnau somehow made a perfect movie and improved on the source material. I'm open to being impressed by Hollywood's remake as long as the symbolism stays intact. And if I get a generic vampire movie, I'll be upset that I paid to see it in the theater. Your art is on trial, Hollywood.